So we're about to head out fishing again, and we brought the Ninja to the fish camp with us for the week. And what I've got here, I've never made chili from a packet, but I've read that this Kinder's chili is pretty good, so we're going to dump and go so we can go catch the fish early this morning. So what I've got here, I've got the Speedi on the sear function, and I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil to get this meat going. And I'm not using hamburger. I've actually got 2 pounds of stew meat because I'm doubling the recipe. So we're just going to let this meat sear for about 5 minutes and get browned on all sides. And then I'll show you how we're going to make it. So I'm going to dump in 2 of these packets. Again, this is a double recipe, so if you didn't want the full recipe, you would only do half of this. But I'm going to actually let that seasoning before I add my other ingredients. I am going to change up the way they say to do it just a little bit. But before I add anything else, I want those seasonings to get a little toasted in with that meat. So I'm going to let that cook for about 3 or 4 minutes before I add my other ingredients. So you can see those spices and that meat is good and flavored. So now what we're going to do is I've got a can of fire roasted tomatoes. That's just a 14.5-ounce can. And then another can of just plain diced tomatoes. You can use any tomatoes that you want. And then I've got a can of red beans and a can of black beans. You could omit the beans if you don't want the beans, or you could use a different bean. You can see this is going to make an extremely large pot of chili. Now the directions say to add a cup per packet of water. I'm going to actually add a beer to give that chili some more flavor because we're not making it homemade. We want to give it as much flavor as we can in this slow cooker. And then I think I'm going to add about a half a cup of water. If I had beef broth, I would actually add a little beef broth, but I didn't bring any beef broth with me. So we're making do with what we got. I'm not adding any salt this evening. When we come in, we'll check our seasoning to see if we need to add anything. We're going to go with Kinder's and see what it tastes like. We're going to shut that lid. We're going to take it down to slow cook. On slow cook, on low. And we're going to actually go 9 hours because we may be on the boat for 5 hours. We may be on the boat for 10 hours. You never know if the fish are biting. So we're going to start Speedi. And when we come in this evening, we'll show you what it looks like. So our chili's been cooking every bit of 10 hours. The fish were biting late today, so it was late when we got back. But look at that chili. It looks delicious. And boy, are we hungry. That meat should be so tender that it just fall apart. But it looks good. Let's plate it up and see what we got.